welcome to Battle of the Christmas Movies between Lifetime and Hallmark. So please do be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you will continue to get updates about new postings. Alright, let's get started. We're going to start off with Lifetime. First one is Dear Christmas. This one's got Melissa Joan Hart in it. She plays a podcaster and her podcast is called Holiday Love, I think that's what it was called, but either way, it's about love. So she ends up going back home to spend Christmas with her mum, dad, and her pregnant sister. She ends up having a flat tire, and this tow truck person manages to help her out, and on his truck it's called Mr. Christmas. Funny enough, his name happens to be Chris Massey. He ends up decorating her parents' home for the holidays, and he does all types of odd jobs to support his glass-blowing art. And she ends up kind of falling in love with him, and he falls in love with her. It turns out they went to school together in the 8th grade, and after that he left. But she'd sort of written about him in her book and in her diary. She kept a diary of every single year she was in school. And it turns out he's had a crush on her since the 8th grade as well. So they end up sort of getting together. She's a little bit confused because she's like, oh, everything's happening so fast. But pretty much it works out for the best. I did like it. I thought they had wonderful chemistry with each other. And it had its funny moments, but it was quite sweet as well. So I really did enjoy the movie. So yeah, I'll give that one a good thumbs up. 2 thumbs up actually. So yeah, next up is A Merry Little Christmas Wedding. Now for this one, I don't know if you call it a sequel or anything, but this is the second time it's having this family. They're called the Littles, the little family. And in the first one, she just got a new house. Her name's Jackie. Kelly Rowland is in this one, as well as other great actors. So in this one, in the last one, she just got a new house and everything, trying to get a new, an investor on her invention and something like. She's really techie and all that. So her family comes over for Christmas and they kind of blow things up, just how they do, you know. They think, oh, things should be done one way, and then it just always somehow turns into like a disaster. So now in this particular one, things once again did turn into a disaster, except this time it was her wedding. She had a wedding planner, and her family thought, well, things should be done differently, and just like before, they end up screwing things up for her to the point that the wedding planner ends up quitting. Now in this case, I would have fired the wedding planner because he was quite rude to the family just in general. I understand you think you're oh so important, but I'm sorry, I'm not going to get a wedding planner that thinks he's far more important than planning my actual wedding. Like, I'm the client, this is my family, be respectful of them, don't be rude, don't act like you're doing me some favor, which he kind of was doing her a favor, but sorry, if you're going to do something for someone, do it from the bottom of your heart, fully, wholeheartedly, not to be disrespectful and rude. I would have fired him myself. But anyways, he ends up quitting and taking all the vendors with him. So now she's got basically nothing. No chairs, no cake. She ends up falling on her cake or something like that. Keep in mind, I can't actually see what's going on because I am legally blinded, and so I can't tell what's going on, but I picked up on the fact that she fell on the cake and it got destroyed. So now they're scrambling and trying to salvage whatever they can of the wedding. The family's trying to create things, video, cooking, all these stuff. So because nothing's going quite right, and she tends to be a real perfectionist, so she's starting to have second thoughts, like maybe this isn't actually supposed to happen, but of course she was just caught up in the whole chaos of the whole thing. But pretty much they do end up getting married, but of course it's nothing like how it was supposed to be, but all that matters was being with the person she loved. So altogether, I really do like them, and I would actually like to see more in regards to the Little family. I think that it was a great cast. super diverse, obviously, because it's actually portraying an African American family with different personalities, because we're all different, everyone's different. It's not a one note situation going on. So yeah, it was very cool, and I loved it, and it was funny and fun, and just all together. I always enjoy watching them as a whole together. So that's A Merry Little Christmas by Dane. Great. All right, now Hallmark. First up is 5 Star Christmas. I'm not really sure who's in this. I'm trying to know the person, but I don't remember the name. This one I did really like as well. At first I was like, okay, where's this going? But it actually turned out to be quite cute and funny and great. This 5 Star Christmas, so it portrays a family, and they've got, I think it's with 2 sisters, 1 brother and his wife, and then we've got the grandmother and then the grandfather, and they are all coming, to the family house for the holidays. So, but then by the time they all get there, it turns out that the father had turned the house to a B&B, bed and breakfast, and they were all surprised about this, like, where is this coming from? But he said since his wife passed 15 years ago, he's just been kind of all over the place, and he really wanted to find something different. And he recently retired from being a ranger, I think, ranger of some sort. And he was just like, he wanted to try something new. So obviously he only had about 2 months to really get things going, bringing in income, because he spent most of his money on renovating the house and preparing it and all that. But he hadn't really actually marketed or had any investing actually going into getting the guests. So the kids are there. The son is like, well, I do IT, I can do your website. And the daughter's like, well, I can help market certain things, because I think that's what she does. And then the daughter ends up pretending to be a chef. So they all see this woman that comes in. Quite before that, they were looking online and they saw that, oh wow, there's this reviewer person, this blog person that's going to be somewhere in town, and she's going to be reviewing bed and breakfast. And they were like, oh wow, it'd be cool if she actually came here and you got your great review. But then they're like, well, it seems like she can make or break your business depending on what her review is. So this lady, her name is Beth Thompson, and the reviewer blogger's name was B. Turner. But yes, so Beth Thompson ends up having a flat tire and ends up staying at their B&B, and all this time they're thinking she's the blogger, the reviewer, and they were all pretending because there was no guests. So they're like, okay, yeah. So one of the daughters is the chef, and the other daughter is just a daughter, and then the son and his wife are like pretending to be guests, so it doesn't look awkward that the woman is like the only person staying in this B&B. So, but another person comes in as a guest. His name is Jake, and it turns out the oldest daughter, actually met him earlier in the cafe or coffee shop, something like that. I think it was a coffee shop or breakfast place. I'm not really sure, but anyways, in a restaurant, they end up meeting, and they fought over a candy cane, something like that, and yeah, so he ends up staying there. But the point is, he pretty much ends up being the reviewer they were all thinking the other lady was. And she finds out, obviously she gets upset because all this time she thought it was a different person, and she kind of revealed their secret to him because they started liking each other. But everything, of course, works out. It was quite funny. The grandmother in this one, she was very eccentric, and it was funny. She was great. And the father ends up falling in love with the Beth Thompson, like he really likes her, and because her husband had passed on 5 years prior to meeting him, and so they both had something in common in losing a spouse. So they just sort of were able to really interact with each other. So I did like it. It was quite funny. Once again, chemistry was really great. I liked the female's personality as well as the guy. The personality really went well together, and it was very vibrant and energetic and not like disconnected or anything like that. So yeah, I enjoyed that one very much. 5-star Christmas. So yeah, great. All right, lastly is, what was it? Oh, the Christmas Waltz. Okay, this one I really did like. It had Lacey Chabert in it. I suppose she does a lot of movies for Hallmark during the holidays. But either way, I'm sure I've seen plenty more movies with her, besides Mean Girls and all that. But yeah, I'm sure I've seen plenty of other Christmas movies with her in it. I just don't remember the names. But yes, this one is called The Christmas Waltz, and she, in this one, is engaged, and she'd be planning her wedding to a fiance and all that. And you can tell they're all kind of preoccupied, and he gets really busy with work and everything, and she's quite busy herself, but she makes time because, you know, it's gonna be their wedding. Pretty much he ends up telling her, this is after they had the cake tasting and they picked a cake and everything, and he ends up telling her, well, looks like I got a job in Boston. And she was like, well, we discussed that. You said you weren't going to take that promotion. And that, you know, that was it. But now you've taken it and you're going to be going to Boston. And she was like, why didn't you discuss that with me? You didn't tell me about that. I can't change anything. And pretty much, you know, she's like, we're getting married and all this. And he's like, well, you know, it was just to kind of put a pin in things and stuff like that. Well, pretty much they end up breaking up because she's like, you don't put a pin in your wedding. Like, that's ridiculous. And then you end up moving somewhere else without even discussing it with someone you had planned on marrying. So prior to this, the day before, she had just purchased 10 lessons for the dance lessons for their wedding. But it turns out it's not going to be a wedding, so she wanted to see if she could cancel that and get her money back. She ends up seeing the instructor, whose name is Roman, and I'm imagining Roman's quite fancy and cute, but I can't see him. But he did sound cute. He has an English accent as well, but he's supposedly Russian in it, so he was playing a Russian in it, but he did have an English accent as well. But yeah, so, you know, they seem to get on really well, and, you know, she's like, well, I don't think I can do this. She's quite emotional. She's like, I sucked at dancing, I wasn't really good. And he was like encouraging her, trying to get her out of her comfort zone. Either way, she ends up taking the lessons, and they're really enjoying their time together. So you can see that they're, you know, falling in love and everything. She ends up helping him with a business plan because he really wanted to expand his business, and because she's a lawyer in this one. She plays a lawyer, yes. So she helps him out with that, and he was trying to get investors, and the investor wanted to see a business plan, so that was how that worked. Also, at some point, the ex-fiance comes back into the picture saying, well, you know what, I'll be able to commute. They said I can commute, so we can work things out. And she was like, what are you talking about? Oh, suddenly it's convenient for you to want to be in my life, to want to be with me, to want to get married? She's like, well, you know what, I have to think about it. Things have changed since, you know, we broke up. You know, she's fallen in love with someone else. That sounds hot. So it's like, she's got to think about a few things. And plus, he was a bit of a jerk, just to begin with. He ends up, because he was like all curious, oh, like, well, what have you been doing? She ends up telling him, well, I was taking those lessons we were supposed to take for our wedding. And I'm having fun and all that. And she was hanging out with a friend. And of course, he was curious. So he ends up going to the dance studio, seeing Roman, and then stating that they're back together. And he should just, you know, try not to get in the way of that and all that. And kind of being rude by calling his dance studio, oh, your little business. You know, she handles multi-million dollar like stuff, you know, clients and all that, but she's helping with your little business. So yeah, he was very rude and disrespectful, and obviously you knew what he was trying to do was trying to put him off so that he can have Avery, which was Lacey's name in the movie, all to himself again. Basically, they end up having dinner because she wanted to discuss their future. But then he slips up and then ends up having to let her know that, yeah, he did see the dance instructor. And she was like, why would you do that? What did you tell him? And he was like, well, I basically told him that we were back together. And she's like, why would you do that? Once again, you're not consulting with me about our future. You're making decisions that are convenient for you. What works for you, not what works for us. So she ends up saying, no, I'm not going to get back with you. We're done forever, So she ends it. She pretty much, is trying to get in touch with Roman. At the end of the day, it goes well. She ends up dancing with Roman because there was supposed to be the show and the other dance instructor was supposed to be dancing with Roman, but she's stuck in traffic and she won't be able to come. But Roman had practiced the dance with Avery, so she ends up sort of saving the day and dancing with him, and he ends up being beautiful. I'm imagining that it was beautiful because I can see this again. So yeah, and that's pretty much how it ended. But obviously, they're going to end up together because she ends up telling him, well, he lied, we're not back together, all of that is fine, and you can see their connection. And I thought it was very natural. I did enjoy it. Once again, great chemistry. I was feeling it. But yeah, totally great movie. Loved it. I think she's got another one coming up again, but I guess if I see that one, I'll let you know. But alright, thank you so much for watching. Do subscribe, hit that notification bell, and I will see you next time. Thank you, bye. Oh, before I go, actually, I will give both networks 10 points because I actually genuinely enjoyed all of them. So they are doing really, really well this year. Alright, once again, thank you, bye. See you next time.